Kantanka Automobile, luxury. So with that comes leather.
For decades, Africa's automotive industry has been dominated by foreign manufacturers. Countries have relied on imported vehicles that weren't built for the rugged terrains, extreme weather, and unique driving conditions of the continent. But what if that changed? What if a company from Ghana challenged the giants of the industry? That's exactly what's happening now, and even Tesla is in shock. Kantanka Automobile, a Ghanaian automaker, has burst onto the scene with a lineup of powerful, locally made cars designed for Africa's roads. This isn't just a moment in history, it's a revolution. Could Ghana's breakthrough finally put Africa on the global automotive map? The birth of Ghana's automotive powerhouse, Kantanka Automobile, was not born out of luck or coincidence. It was the vision of one man who dared to challenge the status quo. Pastor Kwadwo Safo, a Ghanaian entrepreneur and industrialist, believed that Africa should not rely on foreign companies to provide its vehicles. Instead, he envisioned a company that would design, engineer, and build cars specifically for Africa, using local materials and labor. In the early 1990s, he began experimenting with vehicle designs, working tirelessly to develop a manufacturing system that could sustain mass production. What made Kantanka's approach unique was its deep understanding of Africa's rugged terrain and unpredictable road conditions. Unlike Western cars, which were built for smooth highways, Kantanka's vehicles were designed to withstand potholes, extreme heat, and off-road challenges. From the very start, it was clear that these weren't just cars. They were machines built to survive in Africa. The company's early models were handcrafted prototypes, built with durability in mind. The local response was mixed. Some doubted a Ghanaian company could compete with global giants, while others saw it as a bold step toward economic independence.
Kantanka is re-strategizing to win back its market share by churning out about 500 small economic.
Despite the skepticism, Safo pushed forward, determined to prove that Africa could build world-class vehicles. Fast forward to today, and Kantanka Automobile has become Ghana's biggest car manufacturer, producing everything from compact city cars to military-grade armored vehicles. But what really set the world on fire was their recent push into electric vehicle (EV) technology, a move that sent shockwaves through the industry. With sustainability becoming a top priority globally, Kantanka is now working on affordable electric vehicles designed for Africa's needs. This development puts the company in direct competition with Tesla, which has been eyeing Africa as its next big market. The battle is just beginning, and Tesla may not be as prepared as it thinks. How Kantanka's vehicles are built to dominate Africa. Unlike foreign cars, which often struggle with Africa's unforgiving road conditions, Kantanka vehicles are specifically engineered for the continent's rough terrain and extreme climate. One of their most unique features is elevated ground clearance, which allows vehicles to drive through floods, deep potholes, and muddy roads without breaking down, something that is a major issue with many imported cars. Additionally, Kantanka focuses on easy maintenance and repairability, a crucial aspect for African buyers. Many foreign vehicles require expensive, imported parts, making them costly to maintain. Kantanka solves this problem by ensuring that all parts are locally manufactured and easily replaceable.
They believe that more investment in the industry could overtake traditional exports,
giving car owners more independence and lower costs over time. Another game-changing feature is fuel efficiency. Gas prices are notoriously high across many African nations, making fuel-efficient vehicles a necessity. Kantanka has incorporated innovative fuel-saving technology into its designs, ensuring that drivers get more miles per gallon compared to competitors like Toyota and Ford. But Kantanka's ambitions don't stop at traditional gas-powered vehicles. The company is pioneering hybrid and electric vehicle technology, aiming to reduce Africa's reliance on expensive fuel imports. This shift towards sustainability and self-reliance is what has caught the attention of global automotive giants, including Tesla. In many ways, Kantanka's cars are tailor-made for Africa in ways that Western brands simply cannot match. They are not just selling vehicles, they are offering solutions to real problems faced by millions of drivers across the continent. The world is watching, and the competition is starting to sweat. The military-grade vehicles that prove Ghana means business. While Kantanka is making waves with its consumer cars, its military and security vehicles are even more impressive. The Kantanka Automobile, an armored military vehicle, is one of the toughest automobiles ever built in Africa. Designed for security operations, border patrol, and riot control, this vehicle proves that Ghana is ready to manufacture defense-grade equipment. This move into the defense industry is a direct challenge to global arms suppliers, many of whom dominate Africa's military vehicle market. If Ghana can produce its own armored vehicles, why should African nations continue to buy overpriced foreign alternatives? One of the most shocking aspects of the Kantanka Automobile is that it was built entirely in Ghana, using locally sourced materials. This not only proves Africa's potential in manufacturing, but also saves millions in import costs for security agencies. As African governments begin to take notice, orders for Kantanka's military vehicles are increasing, signaling that Ghana is positioning itself as a serious player in the global defense industry. Could this be the beginning of a new era where African nations manufacture their own military tech? The implications are massive. If Kantanka continues on this path, it could disrupt the arms trade in Africa, shifting economic power away from foreign companies and back into local hands. And for Western defense contractors, that's a terrifying prospect. This isn't just about cars anymore. It's about self-sufficiency, national security, and economic independence. The question now is, how far can Kantanka push this revolution? Tesla's unexpected reaction to Kantanka's rise. Tesla, the world's most famous electric car manufacturer, has always had its eyes on Africa. With its push for EV adoption, the company saw the continent as an untapped market with massive potential. But they never expected a homegrown African brand to challenge them before they even arrived. Kantanka's growing influence has forced Tesla to rethink its Africa strategy. Instead of simply entering the market as the dominant EV brand, Tesla now has a real competitor, one that understands Africa's needs far better than any foreign company ever could. Reports indicate that Tesla executives have been closely monitoring Kantanka's developments, with some even suggesting that Tesla may be forced to partner with local companies if it wants to survive in Africa. The very idea that Tesla, a multi-billion-dollar giant, would have to collaborate with a Ghanaian manufacturer is something no one saw coming. But what's even more surprising is Tesla's silence on the issue. While the company is known for its bold moves and aggressive marketing, it has not directly addressed Kantanka's rise, possibly because they don't know how to respond. For Tesla, Africa was supposed to be an easy win, but now they face an uphill battle against a company that has already captured the hearts and minds of African consumers. The war for the future of African cars has begun, and Kantanka is not backing down. Can Ghana's auto industry go global? Kantanka's dominance in Ghana is undeniable, but the bigger question remains, can this local powerhouse expand beyond Africa and compete on a global scale? With China, the US, and Europe leading in automobile production, breaking into international markets is an uphill battle. However, Ghana's rich resources, skilled labor, and growing economy could give Kantanka a unique advantage that foreign competitors are underestimating. One of Kantanka's boldest moves is its ambitious export strategy, aiming to introduce Ghanaian-made vehicles into other African nations before expanding globally. Countries like Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa have already expressed interest, as many are looking for reliable, locally made cars that cater to African road conditions. If Kantanka can establish itself across the continent, it could soon challenge global brands in emerging markets. Beyond Africa, Kantanka's push for electric and hybrid models could be the key to attracting international investors. With the world shifting towards sustainability, there's a growing demand for affordable electric vehicles, EVs. If Kantanka successfully develops cost-effective, durable EVs, it could disrupt the industry by providing a cheaper alternative to Tesla, Nissan, and Volkswagen. However, entering Western markets presents regulatory challenges. Strict safety standards, emission laws, and market barriers could slow down Kantanka's expansion. But with African nations increasingly advocating for economic independence, governments may ease trade restrictions and support local car manufacturers.
The right time, the government will make sure there is good policy will favor Kantanka Automobile,
allowing Ghanaian-made vehicles to reach more global consumers.
The Kantanka company says the cars are made to withstand Ghana's sometimes harsh weather.
The rise of China's auto industry serves as a blueprint for Kantanka's global ambitions. Once overlooked, Chinese brands like BYD and NIO are now threatening Western car makers, proving that new players can break into the market if they innovate and scale efficiently. Could Ghana be the next China of the auto world? If Kantanka continues on this trajectory, the possibility is real. For Tesla and other Western automakers, the rise of Kantanka signals a new era of competition. No longer can foreign brands assume automatic dominance in Africa. With a homegrown manufacturer leading the way, the global auto industry must adapt, or risk losing an entire continent's market share. The EV revolution, Africa's unexpected power move. For years, Africa has been seen as a late adopter when it comes to electric vehicle technology. Many argued that lack of charging infrastructure and high costs would prevent EV adoption. But now, Kantanka is proving them wrong, making a bold play for electric mobility in Africa. And Tesla should be worried. Unlike Western EVs, which require a vast network of charging stations, Kantanka is developing a hybrid model that combines solar charging and extended-range batteries. This is a game-changer, as it allows drivers in remote areas to charge their cars without relying on traditional electricity grids. In a continent where power shortages are common, this innovation could make EVs a practical reality for millions. Kantanka's EV technology is not just about transportation, it's about energy independence. Africa is home to abundant solar energy resources, and Kantanka is exploring integrated solar panel technology for its cars. This move could revolutionize not only the auto industry, but also the renewable energy sector, reducing reliance on fossil fuels and foreign oil imports. Tesla, which has been trying to enter Africa for years, now faces a massive hurdle. It does not have the same localized technology that Kantanka is developing. While Tesla's cars are built for developed infrastructure, Kantanka's EVs are tailored for rural and urban African environments, making them far more practical for the continent's needs. The EV market is Africa's next battleground, and Kantanka has a home field advantage. With governments pushing for green energy initiatives, local automakers could receive major policy support and incentives, further strengthening their position. If Tesla does not act fast, it risks falling behind in one of the world's last major untapped EV markets. The question remains, will Tesla adapt and collaborate with African manufacturers, or will it attempt to compete head-on? Either way, Kantanka is leading the charge, and the global automotive landscape is about to change forever. The hidden war for Africa's auto market. While the rise of Kantanka is inspiring, it also comes with high-stakes conflicts. Western automakers do not want to lose their hold on Africa, and there are already signs of corporate pushback from major industry players trying to maintain dominance. Some reports suggest that foreign automakers are lobbying African governments to increase import taxes on local car manufacturers, making it harder for Kantanka and similar companies to grow. This tactic, commonly used in developing nations, has historically suppressed local industries and kept foreign brands in control. However, African nations are pushing back, realizing that supporting homegrown industries leads to economic growth and job creation. The Ghanaian government has expressed strong support for Kantanka, offering incentives to boost local production. If more African governments follow suit, The era of foreign automotive control could soon be over. Tesla, Toyota, and Volkswagen are all watching closely as their market dominance is at stake. If Kantanka proves successful, other African nations might start their own automobile brands, leading to a wave of local competition that threatens global automakers. One of the biggest battles will be fought over manufacturing contracts. For decades, Africa has been used as a resource hub for Western companies, providing raw materials without reaping economic benefits. Now, with Kantanka leading the charge, Africa is shifting from supplier to manufacturer, and that terrifies global corporations. The coming years will determine who wins this war for Africa's automotive future. But one thing is clear: Kantanka is not backing down, and the world must prepare for an African industrial revolution like never before. The future of African innovation. What comes next? Kantanka's journey is just the beginning. If successful, this could pave the way for an entirely new era of African industrialization, breaking long-standing economic barriers and establishing Africa as a global powerhouse in manufacturing. Already, we are seeing more African entrepreneurs investing in technology and industry, inspired by Kantanka's success. From electric buses in Kenya to solar-powered motorcycles in Nigeria.
Now is a very exciting moment. We launch our new electrical motorcycle in Ghana here.
The African auto industry is undergoing a massive transformation. The next step for Kantanka will be mass production and international expansion. The company has already secured funding from African investors, but if global investors start seeing the potential, we could witness the birth of Africa's first globally competitive car manufacturer. Tesla's response remains a mystery. Will they partner with African innovators, or will they try to eliminate competition through aggressive expansion? The answer to this question could determine the future of the auto industry in Africa. What's undeniable is that Africa is on the rise. For too long, it has been treated as a consumer market rather than an industrial force. Kantanka is proving that Africa is capable of manufacturing world-class products, and soon, other industries will follow suit. The world may not be ready, but the future is here. Africa is no longer waiting for permission. It is taking control of its own destiny. The clash between Tesla and Kantanka. As Kantanka continues to rise, Tesla has no choice but to respond. While Elon Musk has long eyed Africa as a future market, he never expected a local competitor to gain so much traction. Tesla's strategy in Africa has always been one of slow but calculated entry, leveraging the continent's growing interest in renewable energy. But now, with Kantanka taking center stage, Tesla may be forced to either compete aggressively or form an alliance. So far, Tesla has focused on establishing charging infrastructure in select African nations, but the problem remains. Tesla cars are designed for first-world roads, not the rugged terrains of many African countries. This is where Kantanka holds an advantage. Their vehicles are engineered specifically for the continent's challenges, from extreme weather conditions to poor road networks, something Tesla has not yet accounted for. Reports indicate that Tesla executives are monitoring Kantanka closely, assessing whether the Ghanaian automaker poses a legitimate threat or simply remains a regional player. However, the recent buzz surrounding Kantanka's plans for electric vehicles, EVs, has sparked discussions inside Tesla's headquarters. With African nations shifting towards self-reliance, Tesla may soon find itself locked out of a market it underestimated. One of the biggest clashes could come in the form of government policies. African leaders, recognizing the importance of industrial growth, are increasingly favoring local manufacturers over foreign giants. If Kantanka continues to receive government support, such as tax incentives, funding, and exclusive contracts, Tesla could be pushed into a corner, unable to penetrate the market as easily as in other regions. If Tesla decides to fight back, it may attempt to flood the African market with cheaper models, undercutting Kantanka's prices and leveraging its global supply chain to push the Ghanaian company out. However, this could backfire. African consumers are beginning to favor local brands, especially those built for their unique needs. A miscalculated move by Tesla could cost them billions in an emerging industry they are only beginning to understand. Whether through competition or collaboration, Tesla must acknowledge the Kantanka factor. The silent war for Africa's auto industry has already begun, and the next few years could define who emerges victorious. The fight for Africa's resources. Who will control the future? Africa is home to some of the world's most valuable minerals, including lithium, cobalt, and rare earth metals, essential components for electric vehicle batteries. Both Tesla and Kantanka need these resources to fuel their EV ambitions, but a major battle is brewing over who gets priority access. For decades, Africa's raw materials have been exploited by foreign corporations, often at the expense of local economies. Now, with Kantanka leading a new wave of African industrialization, many leaders are considering keeping these resources within the continent, a move that could disrupt global supply chains. If African nations prioritize local manufacturers, Tesla and other Western automakers could face a critical shortage of battery components. China has already positioned itself as a dominant player in Africa's mining industry, securing exclusive contracts for lithium and cobalt extraction. This puts Tesla in a difficult position. If Africa redirects its resources toward domestic manufacturing, Tesla could be forced to pay higher prices or source materials from alternative locations, increasing production costs. Kantanka, on the other hand, has a home field advantage. As a Ghanaian company, it can lobby for resource priority, ensuring that local factories receive first access to Africa's mineral wealth. If successful, this could cripple Tesla's African operations before they even begin, as Musk's company struggles to secure affordable raw materials. The stakes are massive, and the fight over Africa's resources is just one piece of a larger geopolitical puzzle. If African nations unite under a common goal of self-sufficiency, they could break free from foreign dependence, marking the beginning of a new economic era. The battle lines are drawn. Will Africa choose self-reliance, or will foreign corporations continue to control its fate? Kantanka's next big move, a supercar for Africa. With its success in the SUV, agricultural and military vehicle markets, Kantanka is now setting its sights on something even bigger, Africa's first high-performance supercar. While Western automakers dominate the luxury car segment, Kantanka aims to prove that Africa is capable of producing world-class sports cars that rival Ferrari, Lamborghini, and McLaren. Recent leaks suggest that Kantanka engineers are developing a prototype for a high-performance, fully electric supercar designed to withstand harsh African conditions while delivering elite performance. Unlike European supercars built for perfectly paved roads, Kantanka's model could feature reinforced suspensions, climate-resistant batteries, and all-terrain capabilities. The biggest challenge? Mass production and cost-effectiveness. Supercars require cutting-edge technology and advanced materials, often sourced from international suppliers. However, if Kantanka partners with African universities and tech startups, they could develop in-house innovations, reducing reliance on expensive foreign components. Tesla, which recently launched its second-generation Roadster, is also eyeing the African luxury market. But would consumers prefer a Tesla Roadster designed for Western roads, or a Kantanka supercar built specifically for African conditions? The answer could determine the future of the high-performance car market in Africa. This move would be groundbreaking, not just for Kantanka, but for African engineering as a whole. If successful, it could silence critics who claim that Africa lacks the technology and expertise to build top-tier automobiles. The world may soon witness Africa's first homegrown supercar. Are we ready for it? The end of imported cars. The ultimate shift in power. For decades, Africa has relied on foreign automakers to provide vehicles, often at inflated costs, with little regard for local needs. But now, with Kantanka's rise, the continent may finally break free from automotive dependence.
And experience. What we see here.
Could this be the beginning of the end for imported cars in Africa? If Kantanka continues its expansion and proves its reliability, African consumers may no longer see the need for Western brands. This could trigger a seismic shift in global trade, forcing foreign automakers to either lower their prices or abandon certain markets altogether. Governments across Africa are already considering policies to prioritize local car manufacturers. Some are discussing higher tariffs on foreign cars, making imports less attractive while giving companies like Kantanka a home field advantage. If this trend continues, we could see Africa transition from an importer to an automotive powerhouse, challenging even the biggest names in the industry. Tesla and other companies must adapt or be left behind. If they fail to localize their approach, they risk losing one of the fastest-growing consumer markets in the world. The future of Africa's roads may no longer be dominated by Toyota, Ford, and BMW, but by African-made cars built for African people. The question is no longer if Africa will rise, but when. Kantanka is leading the charge, and soon the entire global auto industry will have no choice but to take notice. The revolution has begun. Are you ready for it? The Tesla-Kantanka face-off begins. Tesla has dominated the electric vehicle market for years, but no one saw this coming. Kantanka's rise isn't just another startup success story. It's a direct challenge to Tesla's influence in Africa and beyond. Elon Musk, known for his aggressive expansion strategies, suddenly finds himself facing an unexpected competitor. Tesla had long planned to expand into Africa, but Kantanka's locally made vehicles are reshaping the playing field. The question now is, can Tesla keep up, or has Kantanka already won the race? At first, Tesla didn't take Kantanka seriously. The company was viewed as a regional automaker with limited reach. However, as Kantanka's influence grew, Musk reportedly began paying close attention. Insiders claim Tesla executives are closely monitoring the Ghanaian company's movements, concerned about its rapid adoption in West Africa. Kantanka's vehicles are uniquely built for African roads, something Tesla never accounted for. This isn't just about competition, it's about who understands the market better. Kantanka's strategy is genius. Instead of competing directly with Tesla's EV lineup, they're focusing on what Tesla lacks: affordability, rugged durability, and multi-purpose vehicles designed for both urban and rural use. Musk's vehicles, while revolutionary, struggle with rough terrain and infrastructure challenges in Africa. But Kantanka, their cars thrive in these conditions, giving them an undeniable advantage. Meanwhile, African consumers are beginning to show preference for homegrown brands. For decades, global automakers have treated Africa as a dumping ground for outdated models. Kantanka is changing that. By proving that Africa can manufacture high-quality, innovative vehicles, they're inspiring a wave of economic nationalism. Governments across the continent are beginning to offer incentives for local automakers, further solidifying Kantanka's foothold. The competition is now set. Tesla is rumored to be considering partnerships with African governments to fast-track its expansion, but Kantanka already has the home advantage. Will Musk push for an aggressive entry into the African market, or will he try to acquire Kantanka altogether? The battle for dominance in Africa's auto industry has only just begun. The secret plans Tesla doesn't want you to know. Behind closed doors, Tesla is scrambling to counter Kantanka's rise. While publicly, Musk hasn't acknowledged Kantanka as a direct competitor. Insiders suggest that Tesla's African expansion plans have been put into overdrive. Documents leaked from Tesla's internal strategy meetings reveal a rush to establish partnerships in key African countries, something they hadn't planned to do for at least another decade. One of Tesla's biggest challenges? The price gap. Tesla's vehicles are expensive, even with government incentives. Kantanka, on the other hand, offers models that are more affordable for the average African consumer. If Tesla doesn't adjust its pricing strategy, it risks losing market share before it even gets started. Musk's response? A rumored budget-friendly Tesla model aimed at competing with Kantanka's pricing. But that's not all. Tesla is also quietly working on an off-road EV designed specifically for African conditions. While Tesla's current lineup struggles with Africa's unpredictable roads, reports suggest Musk's team is developing a new model featuring reinforced suspension, solar-powered auxiliary systems, and improved battery efficiency for extreme temperatures. If true, this could be Tesla's counterattack against Kantanka. Yet, there's another problem: Africa's charging infrastructure. Unlike North America or Europe, many parts of Africa lack widespread EV charging stations. While Tesla has invested heavily in building its global supercharger network, Africa's infrastructure remains largely underdeveloped. This gives Kantanka a major edge, as many of their vehicles don't rely on full electrification, making them more practical for African consumers. Tesla now faces a critical decision. Should they partner with African governments to fast-track charging station construction, or should they accelerate research into alternative power sources, such as solar-integrated vehicles? Either way, one thing is clear: Tesla can't ignore Kantanka any longer. The African auto industry is changing, and Musk is now in an unfamiliar position, playing catch-up. The global auto giants take notice. Kantanka's rise hasn't just rattled Tesla, it's caught the attention of the entire global auto industry. Major car manufacturers, from Toyota to Volkswagen, are now watching Ghana closely. For decades, Africa was seen as a market for imports, not innovation. Now, with Kantanka proving that African automakers can compete globally, international brands are rushing to adjust their strategies. Toyota, for example, has reportedly begun studying Kantanka's manufacturing processes to understand how a local company could scale so quickly. Ford and Hyundai, both of which have been expanding in Africa, are considering increasing local production facilities to counteract the rising preference for homegrown brands. Could Kantanka's success force the global auto industry to rethink its approach to Africa? Meanwhile, China is making moves of its own. Chinese automakers like BYD and Geely, known for their affordable EVs, are quietly expanding in Africa, hoping to outpace both Tesla and Kantanka. The problem? They lack the local expertise and cultural understanding that Kantanka has perfected. This puts the Ghanaian automaker in a unique position. It's small but powerful, and it has something that even billion-dollar corporations don't: deep-rooted trust among African consumers. The rise of Kantanka is setting the stage for one of the biggest shake-ups in automotive history. The days of Africa being ignored as an auto manufacturing hub are over. Now, the world is paying attention. Africa's automotive revolution begins. Kantanka's success is proving something many didn't believe was possible: that Africa can lead in automotive innovation. The continent, long seen as dependent on foreign imports, is now demonstrating self-sufficiency and industrial capability. Other African countries are watching Ghana closely. Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa have all expressed interest in developing their own automotive industries. Could this be the beginning of a new era, where multiple African nations rise to challenge global car manufacturers? If Kantanka's success sparks a wave of new automakers across the continent, Africa could become a major force in the global auto industry. African governments are also recognizing the potential. Policies are shifting to support local manufacturers, with tax incentives and infrastructure investments helping companies like Kantanka expand. In a decade, Africa could export its own vehicles to Europe, Asia, and beyond. What was once seen as an impossible dream is now within reach. The Elon Musk-Kantanka showdown. With all these developments, one question remains: will Musk attempt to acquire Kantanka? Tesla has a history of absorbing smaller companies that pose a threat or offer valuable technology. Some industry experts believe Musk could propose a partnership, or even an outright buyout, to gain control over Kantanka's market influence. However, would Ghana allow it? Would Africa's first major automaker sacrifice its independence to join Tesla? For now, Kantanka remains steadfastly independent. But if Tesla truly wants to dominate Africa, Musk might not take no for an answer. This battle is far from over. The future of Africa's auto industry, regardless of what happens next, one thing is certain: Africa is rising. The continent is no longer just a consumer of global brands, it's becoming a producer, an innovator, and a force to be reckoned with. Kantanka's impact has already been felt across Ghana, but soon it could reshape the entire African auto industry. Tesla, Toyota, and other global automakers must now compete on Kantanka's turf, a battlefield they never expected to fight on. The next decade will determine whether Africa will be the next great automotive powerhouse, and Kantanka is leading the charge. The world is watching. The revolution has begun. What do you think? Can Kantanka defend its independence, or will Tesla and the global giants eventually take over? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more incredible stories about Africa's rise in innovation.